Good morning, everyone. It's Lisa from Mythical Witchery. Today I'm doing something a little bit different. A while back, Lisa and Peggy Pappas from Supportive Tarot, during one of their Sunday shenanigans, came up with the idea to do a 21 tarot questions. So with the help of their viewers, they came up with a list of 21 questions and asked people to share theirs. So that's what I'm doing today. So we're going to get started. The first question was, what is the deck they'll have to pry out of your cold, dead hands? And for me, that's the Tarot of Oneness. I absolutely love this deck. It was between this deck and one other, which is the Light Seers, but this one, well, it just edges over the Light Seers. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous deck, and I just absolutely love it. What I love so much about this deck is it's in the first person perspective. So instead of looking at the people in the Six of Pentacles, you're part of the card. You become part of the story, which of course that's what tarot is, isn't it? So yeah, this is my absolute favorite deck. So that is the deck that they would have to pry out of my cold, dead hands. Next up is my guilty pleasure deck. And that one would have to be the Tarot of the Divine. This wasn't an expensive deck at all. In fact, it was really cheap. I think I paid like £14 for it. I haven't bought the guidebook for this yet, but I don't think I really need to. The guidebook that was included is really good. The deck itself, it's stunning. The cardstock is gorgeous. It's linen, and it just has such a nice feel. They shuffle beautifully. The messages are right on point. This is probably the most lush feeling deck that I own. So definitely my guilty pleasure deck. When I use this, it just makes me feel so good. Next up, what is the deck you wish existed? I would have to say for that, a really good dog oracle, and for that matter, cat oracle as well. There is one cat oracle deck which is quite good, but I really wish there were more. You know, at this point, there's only a couple of indie decks which I'm not too crazy about. I would love to see some more really good cat and dog decks. I'm surprised that there are so few good dog tarot decks, being that dogs are at least as popular as cats are, but there's so many cat decks. Maybe it's because so many witches read tarot, and, witches traditionally have cats. Not all, obviously. I do, as you just saw. He just walked by. Hello, Bean. You gonna come and say hello? You coming to say hello today? He'll be around. What is the deck that you would give to a new reader? I had to really think about this. And oh, hello. And I decided, you gonna say hello? I decided that it would have to be the Everyday Witch Tarot. This one quite closely follows the traditional meanings in the Rider-Waite-Smith, but it's modern, it's up to date, it's fairly diverse, it's easy to read. The guidebook is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. It gives lots of information on the cards. And there's space for notes as well in the book. Whoops. We're knocking stuff over there, Bean. The cards, they're beautiful cards. They're not reversible, but that doesn't matter. They're fun. They're modern. They're easy to understand. Definitely, this is the deck that I would recommend to a new reader. So the next question is, what is the deck that you want to get along with, but you just don't? And for me, that would have to be the Muse Tarot by Chris Ann. I love Chris Ann's work. I truly do. But this deck just doesn't do it for me. It is pretty. Those are the backs. But it just, I don't know. It just doesn't do it for me at all. So as much as I would love to be able to work with this deck, I just can't. Obviously, your mileage may differ, and that's totally okay. That's part of why there are so many decks out there. We are literally spoiled for choice when it comes to decks. So next on the list is, what deck do you keep only for the art? And look, darling, that would have to be the Tarot de la Nuit. Alexandra Bach and Carol Ann Shinazi. I'm probably saying that wrong. This is a stunning, stunning deck. Those are the backs. Is a really beautiful, beautiful deck. Very glossy. You can probably see my camera reflected in the cards. But I have to admit, I really rarely use this deck. I have the matching Oracle deck as well. And yeah, it just sits on my shelf, unfortunately. So next up is, what is the deck that you bought because everyone else did? That is the Lightseers. This is, as far as I can tell, the best-selling deck on Amazon, which says a lot. Obviously, not all of the ones being sold are authentic, so just a word about that. There are a lot of counterfeit decks out there. Please don't buy a counterfeit deck. Please pay attention to what you're buying so that the artist gets what they deserve for their work. So the Lightseers is the deck that everybody is buying, and I don't regret it a bit, because this is, well, next to the Tarot of Oneness, this is my favorite deck. And I use it all the time. In fact, this is my go-to deck when I do readings for other people. You might want to know why I don't do the Tarot of Oneness for other people, and I'll explain that in a little while. So yeah, just a gorgeous, gorgeous deck. I love how diverse it is. I love how you get all sizes and shapes. It's got a very modern feel, and yet it still stays true to the meaning of the Rider-Waite-Smith. Sorry, a lot of these are upside down. Next on the list is, what is the deck that baffles you? And for that, I would have to say that it is the Star Codes Astro Oracle. Whoops, sorry, I've bumped my camera there. This deck is really highly recommended by a lot of people if you want to bring astrology into your readings. And I'll have to admit that although I know a little bit about astrology, I've had my chart done, I know my signs, I understand my sign, I really haven't spent much time understanding much else about astrology. So this deck just really, really goes over my head. One day, when I have time, then maybe I'll spend some more time learning this one. Next on the list is what deck surprised you? And for me, the deck that surprised me was the Wild Unknown Tarot. When I first got this deck, it was because I saw it very highly recommended. And I thought, oh, that looks like a cool deck. But once I got it, it didn't click for me. And it doesn't click for quite a lot of people, I've heard. But one day I was doing a reading for a client and I really felt called to use this deck. And when I did the reading, I could not believe how on point it was. It blew me away. And it became my go-to deck for really blunt, honest, in-your-face readings for clients who want that kind of reading. So I was really surprised by this deck, especially since when I first got it, I didn't click with it. I didn't feel like it was a deck for me. And yet, it is really gorgeous and very, very on point. Next question is, what is the deck that doesn't really work for you, but you keep it because it's a collectible? And that would be this one. This was a Kickstarter deck. It's called The Tarot of the Everlasting Day. And it's a bit of a different deck because it comes with a full set of pip cards as well as minor arcana cards that have the images on them. So you get both, so you can use whatever works for you. The images on this are stunning. But after I got this deck, I realized, you know what? This looks so much like every other AI deck out there. And of course, being an artist, I have an issue with AI decks. I'm not going to get into that in this video. I don't think it matters. But yeah, this is a deck that I keep purely because it's a collectible. But I personally don't get on with it. And I will not use it for a number of reasons. The next one on the list of 21 tarot questions is, what is your favorite gilded deck? And for me, it's the Wandering Soul Oracle. This is just such a gorgeous, gorgeous deck. The only thing is I find the guidebook really hard to read. The font on this just does my head in. I know for some people it's brilliant, but for me, it's really not. So I struggle using this deck. The cards are beautiful. I'm going to do a full flip through of this one very soon. And the gilding is gorgeous. It's that silver rainbow effect. I don't know how well you can see that, but gorgeous cards. So that is my favorite gilded deck. Next up is, what is a deck that you love but you hate the cardstock? And well, for me, that is my original copy of the Witch's Tarot. It is such a beautiful, beautiful deck. I love the imagery. I love the fact that as a first edition, this was borderless. I believe recent editions have borders on them. But the cardstock in here is just, it's not good. And it has warped really badly. And it doesn't matter what I've done, and I've done everything to try and fix it. It's just, it's really horribly warped. And I just am finding it to the point that it's become unusable for me. Next, what deck gives you the willies? For me, that's the Hush Tarot. There's a lot I love about this deck. And there's a lot I really don't like. There are cards in here that I just want to take a marker and fix them. I mean, in some ways, it's really beautiful. A lot of the cards are really gorgeous. But there are some of them that just do my head in. This is one. Like, what happened to her mouth? Where is her mouth? It is not there. And okay, you could say, well, it's covered up by that, but no, anatomically speaking, you would see part of her mouth here, and you can't. And that really gets to me. And I said, the cards are quite beautiful. They really are. But some of them just really creep me out to the point that I find it difficult to use this deck. So that's the Hush Tarot, the deck that gives me the willies. Next question is, what is your favorite deck for shadow work? And that's this one. With a special thanks to the creator for sending me this beautiful bag and reading cloth as well. But that's not why this is my favorite. This is my favorite shadow work deck because it is an amazing shadow work deck. It gets right to the heart of things. It doesn't pull any punches. It's beautiful. It's evocative. It's just stunning in every way. So that's my favorite shadow work deck. There's another deck that I should be receiving hopefully in June of this year. And I have really high hopes for it. And that's the Dark Reflections Tarot, which I supported on Kickstarter. And it looks just beautiful. So I'm hoping to pair these decks together. That obviously is tarot, and this is an oracle deck. Next question is, what deck do you love in theory but not in practice? And that is my Osho Zen Tarot. I love this deck. I have had the Osho Zen Tarot since it came out. And it is a really beautiful deck. I'll show you the cards here. Those are the backs. And a lot of the words have been changed, so it's not like the name of, so like High Priestess, instead of High Priestess, it's Inner Voice, you know, that kind of thing. It's just, I do struggle with it. Because there are things that are changed around in this deck that don't match the Rider-Waite system, and it really does my head in. I struggle a lot with it when I get one of those cards and I'm like, but that's not what that means. That's not what that means. I mean, you know, if you're using the guidebook and you're going by what's in the guidebook, but, you know, I tend to go by what I know and what I feel, and when those two things are battling with a card that just doesn't match up to what it should be, I struggle. So that's that. And I should note that this is not my original version. My original version came in a kind of a plastic box. But when I moved across the ocean from Canada to the UK, I had to leave it behind. And I did replace it because I do love the deck, but I just really struggle to work with it. Next question is, what deck would you never use to read for someone else? And that's a deck we've already seen, and you may have already guessed, and that is the Tarot of Oneness. To me, this is such a personal deck. This is my deck. I cannot bring myself to use it for other people because it belongs to me. It's mine. It's mine. I don't want to share it with anybody, and I don't have to, and I won't. So that's my deck. What deck would you never use for yourself? And that one is the Tarot of the She. I really do love this deck. It is stunning. It's a gorgeous deck. I love to use it in readings for other people. I specialize in fae and fairy readings, and this is my go-to tarot for when I'm doing a primal. Oh, careful, darling. Knock stuff over. You're going to break them. When I'm doing a primal fae reading. And those are the backs. Oh, you've done it again, haven't you? You need to be more careful. So why don't I use this for myself? And the answer to that is fairly simple. I love doing fae and fairy readings, and I'm very good at them, but I did work with the fae for a while. I don't anymore. And I don't because it's just not an energy that I'm comfortable with anymore. It's not that there's anything wrong with it. It just doesn't work for me anymore. And you have to do what fits for you. You know, what fits for you isn't going to necessarily fit for me or anyone else. So that's the deck that I use regularly for other people, but would never use for myself. Next up is, what deck could you not bring yourself to buy? And for me, that was Tarot of the Owls. I really wanted that deck. It's so cute. It really is cute. And I put it into my cart, and it was on pre-order, and I pre-ordered it, and then I canceled it, and then I pre-ordered it again, and then I canceled it again, and I pre-ordered it again, and I canceled it again. I think I went through that process 6, 7 times at least. And in the end, I decided, you know what? I really don't need this deck. As cute as it just is probably not a deck that I'm going to use. It's not a deck that I'm going to feel led to use. So why put out the money? And admittedly, I have lots of decks that I don't use and probably won't ever use. But I just could not bring myself to buy that deck. Next up, what is your favorite pip deck? And this was a difficult one for me. Mostly because I don't have many pip decks. I don't like pip decks. And I won't buy pip decks. This one, however, was a gift. It was a gift from my daughter, Michelle. And for that reason, it's special for me. But yeah, it is a pip deck. And I'm not crazy about pip decks. However, this is a pretty cool deck. So, those are the backs. Hello, Bean. And you can see they're really, really cute teacups. But they just, yeah. There. It's a pip deck. And I just don't do pip decks. So that's them. We'll get to the majors here in a second. And I'll show you some of those. Majors. Love them. They're perfect. If this wasn't a pip deck, I would probably use it quite a lot because it is so cute. It really is cute. And I love it. And because it was a gift, it's really special. But, yeah. So, it's my favorite pip deck. It's my only pip deck. And I may end up with more someday, but not anytime soon. I just don't. I'm not crazy about them at all. What deck slaps you with the truth? And for me, that is the Deviant Moon Tarot. I splurged on the guidebook for this, and I was shocked at how huge it was. It's a massive book, hardcover, like proper coffee table book. Even shows you progress shots from the cards from the artists. And yeah, this is a deck that just hits you with the truth. It was a toss-up for me between deck that gives you the willies, for deck that gives you the willies between the Hush Tarot and this one, because I do find this pretty creepy. But it's also very hard-hitting, very in your face, very truth-telling. And finally, number 21 is, what is the deck that got away? And for me, it's one of two decks. It's the Cain's Arcana or the Tarot of the Crone. Both of them are decks that I really wanted and just waited too long. And the result of it is I wasn't able to get them unless I wanted to spend a lot of money, and I just cannot justify doing that. So that's it. That's 21 tarot questions. I hope you enjoyed this today. It was a bit different. It was definitely fun. Thank you so much to Lisa and Peggy for the super fun idea for a video, and I hope that you've all enjoyed it. Thank you for joining me today. Please hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video if you feel like it, and don't forget to hit the notification bell because I'm always uploading new videos every single week. So thanks again for watching. Have a great day. Bye for now.